We are live.
Go.
Go.
Good Wednesday evening, everyone, and thank you for tuning in to another edition of Tailgate Talk Nebraska. We've got Brandon Denton down there manning the controls. We've got Braden Long Cook over here right in the middle, not doing his homework, and he's going to be punished later by his father. Jeff Green hosting us into his casa. We always appreciate that. Gentlemen, March Madness is done for another year. We would like to congratulate Nicole Talbot on winning the Tailgate Talk bracket busting group that we had in here. Nicole, with Florida win last Monday night, is our champion, and she is going to take home this beautiful set of tumblers and coasters. We'd like to thank all of you who did play. We've got a few more winners that Jeff's going to go through here in a little bit. But before I say that, let me just say
we won the challenge.
the old house won the Young Bucks.
Yeah, it's all right.
That's just how that works, you know.
It happens.
Old guys know sports better.
No,
Derek knows sports better than I do.
I don't know about that.
Derek beat us, not Jeff.
Stop it. It was a
It's
combined
like I
score.
said, it was a team thing. He was the Pippen to my Jordan.
I was right behind you guys.
Yeah.
How far behind?
Yeah, exactly. That's what.
So
I was 18. Brian was 16. Braden was 15.
Yep.
And you were second.
I was second.
But, you know, Nicole Talbot, she won it outright.
She did. She did.
She picked the Gators to win. You picked the Gators to win, but she had the matchup.
Mhm.
She got points for both sides.
Nice.
It's good pick. Which won it for her?
Yeah.
Because there were four Florida picks, and as it turns out, they went 1, 2, 3, 4.
There you go. Yes.
Heck yeah.
Yep. But congratulations, Nicole. Jeff, you've got some other winners.
Yeah.
Some other.
And officially number 3 or number 2 in the contest, because Derek doesn't count, is Jacob Novotny, and he's going to win a haircut from Strop.
Yep.
And then we have Adam Glenn. He's one of our normal followers. Thank you very much for participating. And this for all of you. Thank you for participating. But he came in a third. He's going to win a t-shirt. Adam Quackenbush. Thank you for your service. You know, but hey, you got fourth, and you're going to get a shirt too. And then we got Kurt Agina. Agina. Sorry for butchering your name. You got fifth, and you also are going to get t-shirts just like Adam and Adam.
Sure.
And again, thank you guys for all participating. We had 33 people that participated in it, which, you know, it's great for our first time.
Yep.
And we're giving, like I said, we're giving away the tumblers and the coasters to first, a strop haircut for second, and then we're going to have Tailgate Talk shirts. We're going to hand out for the third, fourth, and fifth place.
They'll look like this one.
Braden, I was wondering, who's your dad?
Who's your dad?
He didn't finish up there as high as he said he was going to, did he?
Yeah, no, he did.
Where did he end up?
He was close.
Right.
He was close, but
He beat all of you. But,
Oh,
Braden, from now on, listen to your father, not your stepfather, on how to pick games, okay?
games. I need to remember that.
Yeah.
and let's have some honorable mentions too. You know, because Casey Mullen and Marcus Cross, they came in 6 and 7 right behind everybody, and were in great position to win until Florida took it.
Well, and Jason Zollner
Jason.
finished up there right
Yeah.
behind.
You know, all of us in Big Duke, we kind of fell down, but Jason was in there all the whole time. He was up at the top echelon.
Yep.
Tyler was there for a while.
Yep.
He dropped out at the grade 8 is when he started falling down fast.
They were back to back for a while.
Yeah,
Right?
dad and son were. They were
Yeah.
back to back for a while.
Yes, they were.
Yeah.
Tyler felt like his Denver Nuggets coach just did.
Yeah.
Well, I would like to say congratulations, Jacob Novotny. Jacob is a junior at Del Roselle High School. He's in school in the same class as my youngest daughter, Gabby. And I have talked to Jacob before. He tries to get on and watch us every time he can or every chance he can. Jacob, congratulations. You're going to get a free haircut from the Strop Barbershop. Davin offers a traditional men's barbershop with cuts, beard trims, which you don't need, Jacob, and straight razor shapes, which you probably don't need as well. But we would like to thank Devin over there at the Strop sponsoring us here and for sponsoring a free haircut for our second place / third place
Good.
finisher
Yes.
in our tournament. Guys, let's talk.
And Jacob, you gotta like us on Facebook. You got to become a follower.
I'll get sure.
I'll make sure.
I'm not just saying, thank you for watching, but we really like that like button.
There we go. So, guys, let's talk Florida, Houston. Well, let's go back to Saturday.
Yeah.
Let's talk
go to the
Florida
Final Four.
first Auburn. First game up in that day, and Florida just seemed like they would get down.
Yeah.
Walter Clayton just found a way. He found a way to bring his team.
It just looked like Auburn was going to run away. Thank you.
Yep.
And Florida just kept coming back, nicking away at it. They came back in every game, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Every game.
Yep.
In the Auburn game, they were down 13.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's a big comeback when you get to that level.
I was just gonna say that run made them look like a team of destiny.
Yeah.
Like and even in the championship game when they were down at half, 28 points at half. Is that what they had?
No.
They were down 28.
No, they only had scored 28
Oh,
points. at half.
yes.
Yeah.
They only had 28
But it was
points
a 12 point, 12 point game.
12-point game.
But yeah, just looked in shambles, and then all of a sudden Clayton.
But that's what
comes on
Houston
and-
does to people. I mean,
They're the best defensive team
Houston
in
is.
college
I
basketball.
mean, yeah, they're long. They get in the lanes. They block shots.
Yes.
They make games look ugly.
Yes.
A lot of people talk about Clayton too, that, especially that game, but we'll get to the national championship game, but the main reason that team
Oh, yeah.
together, that
Yes.
their two bigs are,
Well, they just
Role players.
yes,
If you look at the way that they fill in, I can't remember the kid's name, but I think it was the game to send them into the Final Four. He stepped up big
Mm-hmm.
because an Australian kid went down with an injury,
Yes.
and I can't remember. Sorry, I can't remember his name. But anyway, what was
I have it on the tip of my tongue, I can't remember.
Peter? I thought it started with a K, but he came on and just lit it up in that Elite Eight game. Sends them into the Final Four, but they play well together.
Yeah,
They play well together. They play like a team, and
in that Florida Auburn game, the two teams were very familiar with each other, and you could tell they were.
Yeah.
And Florida never got nervous. They'd already done this. They've done this show, and they did it 2 other times, and they were about to do the 3rd time.
Right. So let's move on. After that one, Houston and Duke.
I mean,
Awesome game.
awesome game.
Duke was up what 6 or 7 points with just 5 minutes.
5 minutes to go.
Yeah.
But they were up by 15 at one point
Right.
in the second half.
And then Houston made their comeback. Started coming in,
They
and
were-
that last 1 minute.
Let's say, weren't they at 5 with 33 seconds ago? 37 seconds ago?
No, 32 seconds is when Houston took the lead for the first
Yeah.
time. With 32 seconds left, Houston took the lead for the first time. Are you sure?
No. Houston didn't take the
Okay.
lead till late because
Yeah,
Duke
32
still had
seconds.
the lead when the kid reached across and got the technical foul when they were trying to inbounds it. Remember that?
I was going to
Yeah.
say, I don't,
Duke was trying to inbounds it. Duke was still up, but they missed the free throws.
I'm looking this up.
Houston went
That's
down
right.
and I think cut it to within 1, maybe. And then Flight got the over the back on that rebound.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
when Houston took the lead with the free throws. And then Flight came down and tried to hit the jumper in the lane, came up short.
Mhm.
Houston got the rebound, got fouled with 3 seconds left, put them up by 3, and then tried to pull the Christian Leitner miracle
Yeah.
pass down court. Houston did a great
Yeah,
job.
40 seconds left. Duke was up 67-61.
Mhm,
And then 33 seconds is when they cut the lead to 3.
mhm.
Because, yeah, they went on, I mean, Houston went on a 7 to
Yeah.
20 run, dude.
Houston just didn't quit.
Yeah.
I mean, they just kept coming. They just kept coming. They kept coming. But when they took the lead, they had no doubt they won.
Yeah.
Even though they were only up by 1, you could see it in their faces. And Duke, you could tell, was done.
But that last shot Flight took, the turnaround in the lane, that was a shot Duke won.
Yeah.
I would say that they wanted
Yeah.
Flight to have the ball for sure. He may not have gotten the shot he actually wanted.
Right.
But it was a good look. he had
It
that
wasn't horrible.
opportunity. No.
But
Yeah.
horrible.
Anything's a good look with that kid.
Yeah.
He makes stuff that shouldn't be made.
Obviously not.
Well,
Sorry. I had to say it. I had to say it. Anyway, but he misses. Houston goes on. Then Houston is on the opposite end of that in the national championship game. They've got the big lead,
Yeah.
and here comes Florida marching back like they have all tournament. Take the lead late. Houston had a chance, and I still don't know what that kid was doing. It looked like he was going up for a three, realized it was going to get blocked, throws the ball on the ground.
Yeah. And then he couldn't touch it.
No,
So he blocked out.
That was just a
And,
That's a weird-
and his other teammates did register,
mm-hmm,
and they didn't move in.
mm-hmm,
You know, it reminded me of Chris Webber
mm-hmm.
at the timeout.
well, when you're in that scenario, you just go to your instinct, and you're just
Right.
like,
The fact that he knew not to touch the ball again, though,
yeah,
Right.
it's really heads up.
really heads up.
But you know, Kelvin Sampson is a good coach. He was at Oklahoma for a while. He is a good coach. He's got Houston playing. I mean, the last few years they have been one of the top teams in the nation,
Yes.
and for them to make it to where they did make it to was absolutely fabulous.
Yeah,
I was rooting for him.
I was too.
I thought Houston was
Obviously, you were.
was in a great spot.
Yeah.
And they had all the old timers there watching.
Hakeem Olajuwon was there. I think Clyde Drexler.
Like Drexler was there.
I even saw Coach K there on Saturday night watching Duke.
yeah.
Yeah, but he didn't come back for the finals.
Well,
There's a reason why.
but yeah, it was a great tournament. It really was. You had 4 number 1 seeds in the Final Four. Only the second time in the history of the NCAA March Madness tournament that's happened. So you got what the seeding committee basically said is the best Final Four.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You guys agree?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
They chalked it up good.
Yeah. Even if you look at the Elite Eight and
Yeah.
the Sweet 16, it kind of held chalk all the way through with
Yeah.
a few exceptions.
Yes.
And that's what
Talked
made
about
the
that last
bracket challenge so good is because 90% of everybody had a number 1 seed winning, so it's just like anybody's in the game, you know.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, because
this could have been any different if Duke won it.
completely.
Yeah,
Like,
this is one.
Somebody had Ole Miss winning the whole thing, didn't they?
Yeah, my wife.
Yeah. And some people had KU winning it all.
but
Yeah,
Dennis
But-
Lyons.
Dennis Lyons.
yeah,
Well,
there was a couple.
there was 3 of them.
That's my daughter and son-in-law.
On the other page that had KU winning it all too. Put it down.
Oh, our parks manager, Michael Murphy.
Yeah.
He was the last perfect bracket actually when
Yeah, so-
we were watching it.
Yeah.
Their first
If you
round.
didn't look at everybody else's, you know, Florida, there was 4 people picked Florida, 2 people I think picked Houston, 1 or 2 Auburns, a couple Tennessees, 3 KUs, and 1 Ole Miss, and the rest was Duke.
Yeah, it was Duke.
Yeah.
I mean,
Which everybody, for the most part, kind of thought they would make a run through, but that's why you play the game.
When I was playing, it was hard to
They looked
picture
solid.
those.
They looked the most solid all year round.
Yeah.
And that's what you go with, and it just
I mean, they're gonna have 3 first-round picks this year in the draft. I mean, and they're all 3 freshmen. They're all gonna go to the draft. And they're all gonna get
But
drafted.
you look at this turn, and that's exactly why you play the games.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't matter. Like Florida looked good coming in, but they looked sketchy and through the tournament. So it's like,
But Florida was the number 1 overall.
No, Auburn.
no, Auburn.
Auburn?
Auburn was number 1 overall, but Florida came in hot, really hot.
Yeah, because they won the SEC.
Yeah, they
beat
won
off.
the SEC. And then they got in the tournament. Besides their first round game, they were behind all games, weren't they?
Yeah, they showed their graphic.
Florida was behind every
in
game.
every
Yeah,
game but the first
exactly.
round.
So, and they
Yeah.
barely got past Texas Tech.
Well, Texas Tech was good.
No, that's what I'm saying. They just clawed and scratched all the way through. And they definitely earned it.
I know Jeff is not a big fan of the SEC, and we know that. But you have to say this year the SEC had the best conference in NCAA basketball.
Yes.
You
Yeah.
can't argue that. I mean, you had 2 teams in the Final Four, 1 winning the national title.
14
There were 4
total.
teams in the Elite Eight because you had Auburn, Tennessee,
Mhm.
Florida, and Alabama were all made it to the Elite Eight.
Mhm.
Arkansas made one heck of a run.
Yes, they did.
And, you know, so,
Well, they had a legend coach.
you know, Ole Miss made a great run in the
Come on,
SEC.
man.
Calipari.
Oh, sorry, Cal.
Yeah, Cal
I meant
Perry.
Cal Perry. Sorry.
Ole Miss made a great run. I mean, you know,
Yeah,
so it wasn't like just the top alpha dogs that made the run.
Rick Pitino was St. John's.
Yeah,
There you
That's
go.
right. Yeah.
yeah,
Calipari
because,
beat
Yeah.
Patino.
In Arkansas, that's Barnes, right?
no,
I mean,
Oh.
where's Rick Barnes?
Tennessee.
Tennessee.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Hate that guy.
Where did he coach before?
Texas.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Well, NCAA basketball over with. You got some NCAA baseball coming up. Major League Baseball is in full swing.
Yes.
You got the NFL draft coming up. Not a lot of news coming out of the NFL right now. But right now,
Before we finish basketball talk, though, Nebraska's crowned champions too. By the way.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
We got to throw that out there.
Yep.
You know, they won 5 games straight. 4 games straight.
4 games straight.
Straight.
If they would have done that earlier, they'd have been in the tournament.
Yeah.
2 extra games they would have been in
Yeah.
the tournament.
now wait a minute.
What?
When we were back in conference tournament time,
Me?
somebody was saying they didn't deserve to be in the conference tournament.
Well, I still say I like the Big Tens.
I don't. I think it's crap.
I think everybody should have a shot at getting there.
I think so.
Yes, you know. But anyway, yes, Nebraska, the only team to win the crown in the NIT.
Yep.
And they never
Yeah.
win a game in the NCAA tournament. So
But man, we're good at the consolation games.
Yeah.
you should go to the
Something to be proud of, Jack.
I'd really like that. Yeah. I'd really like that rock upper back.
You don't want to mess with us in the consolation game.
So last week we said we were going to do our first top 10/top 5 of the year. So we're going to start that tonight. We are counting down our top 5 all-time best teams
NFL.
on season in the NFL.
Yes.
So how do you guys want to do this? Do we want to just kind of go down the road, start with 5, and go 4, 3, 2, 1, or?
It don't matter to me. I don't care.
Yeah, let's start with 5 and move up.
All right. So Brian, we'll start with you for number 5. Who is your number 5?
My number 5 was the Kansas City Chiefs in 2022. So that was my pick. And when I went through this, I was trying to decide how I wanted to do this. And it's what I decided is I decided on
Wow, he's your friend tonight, huh?
years that I was able
Young
to see.
Bucks.
So years that I was able to see is kind of where I went with that. So I actually got to see that run. So most of these I got to see them, but it's hard for me to do ones where I didn't actually get to see it live because when you're talking about the best season, it's how they made you feel too.
Absolutely.
Like so that's where you and that's the year they had that feeling they were gonna just make that run all the way through. So it to me that was my 5th one on that, right? So,
Braden?
I'm going with the 89 San Francisco 49ers. 14-2. Outscored their 3 playoff opponents 126 points to 26. I was not alive for that, even close, but
They did destroy Denver in the Super Bowl 55-10 that year too.
Yep.
So
which speaks highly of them.
and I love watching Joe Montana highlights too. So
Montana, Rice, Taylor.
Yeah.
They did have a good solid team that year.
that's my number 5.
Jeff?
I went with 84 49ers is my 5th slot.
Yeah.
okay.
Roger Craig and Tom Raffin. You know, they're the Husker crew that thought that I was kind of following through. They were just getting started in that 84 group. Montana. I mean, if you live through the Montana eras, you have to have him in because he was Joe Cool. I mean, he did everything right, and he never got out of whack. You never seen him really sweat.
Yeah.
A lot of great stories that, like he said, the highlights are great.
Oh,
And he had a lot of them.
Well, I have them on my list, but not number 5. My number 5 team of all time is the 1978 Pittsburgh Steelers.
Ooh.
They were 14-2 that year. They beat the Cowboys 35-31 in the Super Bowl. You had so many Hall of Famers on that team. You had Bradshaw, Harris, you had Rocky Blyer, Mike Webster was their center. But the steel curtain defense is why I put them at number 5. Mean Joe Green, L.C. Greenwood, Jack Ham, Jack Lambert, Mel Blount. Mike Wagner was the safety for him that year. Chuck Noll, the head coach for him that year. That Steelers team, I mean, I know they won 4 Super Bowls in 6 years. But that team was the best of all. And yeah, they went 14-2, but they were one of the best teams at that point.
They were fun to watch.
Yeah.
I mean, Bradshaw,
Lynn Swan,
you would have talked about a personality.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that guy just jumped out at you. You know, I mean.
And the great thing about it is before the Super Bowl, Thomas Hollywood Henderson, the linebacker for the Dallas Cowboys at the time, was trying to get under Bradshaw's skin. And he said, Terry Bradshaw is so dumb, he couldn't spell cat if you spotted him the C and the A. And, you know, Terry Bradshaw was not known as being a smart person, but he knew how to play quarterback, he knew how to throw the ball, he had a huge arm.
And he was tough. He was competitive.
Right.
He was
tough. Oh my God.
Yeah, you had to be back then.
Yeah, exactly.
You
Yes.
can't touch on the quarterback back
No,
then.
you're exactly right. Yes.
You got hit, but that is my number 5.
toughness was more important than athleticism. I mean, you still had to have a big arm, but
Right.
athleticism was not. You had to be tough because you were going to get beat.
Brayton, you're number 4.
My number 4, I'm going with the 1999 St. Louis Rams. 2 players I really like. Marshall Faulk, I was a big watching Marshall Faulk highlights, but kind of the Cinderella story, Kurt Warner.
Yeah.
You know,
The greatest show on turf.
the greatest show on turf. The movie about Kurt Warner is really good too.
Yeah,
Didn't know
it
that,
is.
but
It is
this
a good movie.
Kurt Warner watching.
Kurt
Kurt Warner is a lot of my. I like watching highlights. Kurt Warner too. I'd say that was my number 4.
Who was supposed to be their starting quarterback that year? You know.
Trent Green.
Yeah. Good job.
Yep.
I'm surprised you knew that.
He ended up.
Yeah.
Look who he ended up playing for.
Yeah, that's true.
Yep.
That makes sense.
Yep.
You know. But yeah, and Dick Vermeil was the head coach for him.
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
So Vermeil was
Torrey Holt.
The movie really makes you hate that guy.
What?
The movie really makes you hate the coach.
Not
In a way.
Not Vermeil.
No, the other one.
Here's the thing. Dick Vermeil was portrayed in 2 movies. You know that?
mm,
Yeah, Invincibles.
Invincible, the Vince Papale story.
Yep.
With
That's
the
a
Eagles.
Great.
He was a
Yeah.
rookie head coach at that time, and then in that one with the Kurt Warner.
Kurt Warner.
So
Yeah.
and you know, you think about a head coach, and then he went to the Chiefs for a while after that,
Mm-hmm.
and
That's when I remember him with my mom
yeah,
watching Chiefs all the time.
but yeah, they did. They had a really good team, but you know, again, they almost lost the Super Bowl to the Titans.
That was
that
one.
year.
That was one of the most exciting Super Bowls of all time.
Oh yeah,
The Titans were what, 3 yards short?
Yeah. No, it was right at the goal.
Yeah,
It was like
Eddie's reaching out.
Kevin Dyson.
And he's reaching out for it. I mean, man, what a game!
Yeah,
What a game!
it was a great game.
That's one that you remember if you watched it.
Yes.
And not to disagree with Braden, that team was good, but you know, Marshall Faulk, I think got the MVP that year. Was either Faulk or Warner got the MVP that year.
I can't remember. I want to say
I think it was Marshall Faulk.
But you know, and I know we're just doing per season here, but that Rams team really folded after that. You know, I mean,
They
they
did
went back
fold
to the Super Bowl 2 years later when Brady won his first, but they just, I don't know. I thought they would go on a run where they would just win 2 or 3 of them in the next few years. But
Yeah.
Jeff, you're number 4.
Baltimore Ravens, best defense ever assembled in one team. Pretty sure it was 2000s.
Yeah.
Ray Lewis and company, they were just mean. They were evil, and you know their playoff run that no one scored over 14 points on them the whole playoffs, including including the Giants in the Super Bowl. You know,
Well, okay, but the Giants were led by Kerry Collins.
yeah, it wasn't the best Giants team,
No, not even close.
but they had a good defense too.
They did.
But it wasn't Baltimore defense.
But yeah, and I'm not trying to disagree with people. I just want to throw things out
Yeah.
for our viewers
No, you're
here.
Yep.
That team did have a great defense, but their offense was horrific.
But they got a lot of chances
Well, yeah,
because that defense just
yes,
can't
you're
limit
right.
to them.
But
Your only bright spot was really Shannon Sharp, and who was the running back at that point?
Jamal Lewis.
Yeah, that's
St.
right.
Louis.
That's
But
right.
Trent Dilfer was the starting quarterback for him that
Yeah,
year.
worst quarterback.
Worst quarterback ever to win a Super Bowl.
Because he's the only quarterback to be released by a team after winning a Super Bowl for the team.
Yeah.
So, and it's kind of funny. I had the chance to meet Trent Dilfer a few years ago and talk to him for probably 15, 20 minutes. Great guy. Super, super guy. In fact, we've emailed each other a few times since then. He is now a head coach at a high school.
Yeah.
But Trent looked at me. He goes, "You know what my claim to fame is, right?" And I go, "Yeah." I said, "You're the only quarterback to be released after winning a Super Bowl." He goes, No. We don't talk about that. I'm the original number 12 quarterback for the Buccaneers before Brady got it. Because he had called me to ask me if he could wear my number. And I'm sure he did, Trent. He laughed about it, but yeah, it's just kind of cool that he said that. But,
That's great.
well, my number 4 team on my list, Jeff had my 5, the 1984 San Francisco 49ers. Montana, Dwight Clark, Freddie Solomon. They had a solid defense that year. Beat Miami in the Super Bowl. They were marketing it as a clash between Marino and Montana. Marino, the young gun. Montana was kind of a veteran at the time. Then San Francisco just rolled them up. It wasn't even close. Jeff kind of expounded on it. You had Roger Craig, Tom Rathman on that team. Nebraska connection right there. They had a solid defense. Fred Dean was on that team.
Lot was there.
Ronnie Lott. They were just the class of that year, and that team was one of the best.
I mean, you put them up against any of the people we named, and it would be hard to pick against.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it would, just because of Joe Montana's leadership.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So, Brian, who do you have before?
This is the only one that I have that was before my time, and that was the Dolphins in '72. It's that they're the only one to go undefeated, so you gotta put it there. So that's the only one that's before my time.
Yeah, you got
The only undefeated team you put them up for.
Yep.
Wow.
Absolutely.
Because he lived it to, because before his time. Before my time too, really. Three.
Jeff's number 3.
Bears 85, and what a show that was. McMahon, the Fridge, Walter Payton. I mean, they wore the sunglasses with the coach. I mean, what a show it was.
Yeah.
They were fun to watch. I mean, you just couldn't help it. One or two didn't watch them to see what happened. You didn't know what they were going to do next. And all they did was win. I mean, just regularly just beat people up. And they did it with a smile on their face.
Yep. Only lost 1 game all season.
Yeah.
And
I do not remember who.
Monday Night Showdown against Miami. Miami was the only team to beat them that year, Dan Marino. And it looked like they were on a collision course to go back against them in the Super Bowl that year. But the Patriots upset the Dolphins in the AFC Championship game that year. Tony Eason put the New England Patriots into that game in the Superdome. And yeah, it was ugly. But anyway, the Bears 85 team, they were good.
Yeah, and they were fun. I mean, the thing that makes this different than watching one of your Sunday shows with Shannon Sharp and all them, we're fans.
Mm-hmm.
And
We have that, and we're gonna keep that.
it is about how we how you feel about it. We might not know all the statistics and the work that went in behind it, but it's about what it made us feel, why we wanted to go watch, what drew you to the team. And, as a fan, the Bears 85, you didn't have to be a Bears fan. You were involved. You watched the evening news to see if there was something going on.
Yes. Well, my number 3 team finished 18-1 in the 2007 season, and the Tom Brady-led New England Patriots. They finished the season undefeated, but then a miraculous throw from Eli Manning to David Tyree with the helmet catch set Jeff New York Giants on to winning the Super Bowl that year. The reason I don't have this one ranked higher, that was a great season. Tom Brady, Randy Moss, they broke all the records. I mean, that offense was crazy. And they did win the Super Bowl.
But you know what? You can talk all you want about New England, and how great that season was, right? But you go from week 9 through the playoffs to that Super Bowl, and that is the greatest run.
Oh, yeah.
The Giants were 2-6 going in at week 8.
Yeah, they had just got smoked by New England.
Absolutely smoked.
In their
Coughlin was on the hot seat.
Yeah.
They were going to fire him.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden, they didn't lose again.
Yep.
Coughlin was that coach that just was like a roach. He would never go away.
Yeah.
Like,
and the Giants did it with defense.
What I'm saying though is like he was consistent, but he like, should we make a move, and then he'd make a run on the Super Bowl. I'm like,
I feel like that season, we'll get to that because I have a different spot for you.
Yeah, but the New England Patriots that year, I mean, like I said, they had a very high-powered offense. They ran through everybody. I mean,
nobody thought they were ever going to lose that.
No.
Nobody thought they were going to lose.
In fact, I think they were like a 12 or 13 point favorite.
12.5.
Yeah, in the Super Bowl that year. But again, the reason I don't have them ranked higher is because they didn't win. They did not win the Super Bowl. And I know you can look at it and go, well, they were the first team to ever go 18-0. They were, but they ended 18-1.
Yep.
So for me, if you don't finish that job, I can't put you in that top spot. So that's where I'm at with that. Kevin, your third?
Great show on turf. I was fairly young. I was 9 years old when that Super Bowl happened, but I had just got done watching Denver win back-to-back. As a Denver fan, that's the only really Super Bowls I watched. So the Rams Super Bowl.
Showed you how to play football.
No,
You actually got to watch a real football team.
Okay. But it was the greatest show on turf. And it was a team that nobody expected to do it. Like, nobody expected that team to do anything.
No.
Kurt Warner came out of nowhere. You got Torrey Holt, Isaac Bruce,
They were
Marshall
fast. They were fast. Everything was fast.
Yeah, they were a really good team to watch early in my development.
And you know who got stepped up for that year in the playoffs was a receiver that not many people know about, but Ricky Rolo was his name. He wasn't really one of the big names. He wasn't Falk, he wasn't Bolt, he wasn't Bruce. But he stepped up and had some big games. He had some big catches against Tampa Bay in the championship game that year. And, so they did. They came together as a team, and that was awesome.
Yes, absolutely. So that's my third.
Brady?
My third, and it killed me.
Still disappointed.
Is it's the '92 Dallas Cowboys. The reason I'm putting them here is that this is where the generation thing is going to come into play, because I like watching close, tough, kick down to the neck, close game defense wise, but I also like watching teams that dominate and that just keep loading points on you, showing you how much better they are than you. And that was the year they won 52-17 in the Super Bowl. And
yeah, that was against Buffalo.
Yeah.
But it's still the Super Bowl.
Yeah, Buffalo choked 4 years straight.
Yeah.
They still made the Super Bowl every year. So I'm putting them there. There's a lot of big names. Like, that's where, you learn about Emmitt Smith, which I really liked as a
Thurman Thomas.
I'm not a huge fan of Troy Aikman. I don't mind him commentating, but Troy Aikman and Emmitt Smith. So Michael.
You know, I lived in Texas during all that, and it was fun.
Yeah.
They were exciting, and they didn't talk a lot of game, but they just went in and beat teams down.
Yeah.
You know, and Emmitt Smith, I don't care if you like him or not, one of the best running backs that ever played the game. He was tough, and he just did his job.
Yeah.
He was one of the best pass blocking running backs in the game. He could catch out of the backfield, and when he put the ball in his hands, he's definitely not overrated. He was a great running back.
Now, one thing I will say about that.
Wow.
One of the reasons they were as good as they were was because of their offensive line.
Yes.
They had the best offensive line in the league for 3 to 4 or 5 years.
Maybe the best offensive line that's ever been assembled.
It could very well be. I mean, those guys were good. And Jimmy Johnson was a good coach. Take nothing away from Jimmy Johnson. He was a great coach. You know, and Jerry Jones was not afraid to spend money. He was not afraid to spend money. You know, you bring in that offensive line. They did build, thanks to the Vikings for trading for Herschel Walker. They were able to get all those draft picks and get those guys, you know, Aikman, Irvin, Emmett. But yeah, it was a very good team. Yep. So moving on to the number 2 ranked teams in our list. And I'm going to go with the team Jeff had already. Again, the 1985 Chicago Bears. And that team, as we talked about, was just dominant. The playoff run, they played the Giants, the Rams, and then the Patriots in the Super Bowl. They gave up 10 points in the Super Bowl. That was all the points they gave up in the postseason that year. They blanked the Giants, blanked the Rams. And that Rams team was pretty decent. They had Eric Dickerson, Hugh Everett. They had some good football players on the team, but that Bears team was just, they were dominant all year. And, you know, with that one exception of losing to Miami in the Monday night game, the only thing that I wish Mike Ditka, and if you hear Ditka talk now, he wishes he would have given Peyton the ball at the goal line, but he thought they'd be down there again. And that's why he put Refrigerator Perry in and gave him that touchdown. But again, defense led the way. Jim McMahon, I'm not going to say was an all-time great quarterback.
No.
But the Bears didn't throw the ball. They didn't throw the ball much. You know, you had Peyton.
But he made the throws he needed to make.
Right. He made the throws he needed to make. But that defense is what, that 46 defense, Buddy Ryan, the defensive coordinator at the time, and Richard Dent, their starting defensive end, was the MVP of that Super Bowl. And New England had no prayer. I mean, it was just...
They were outmatched.
It looked like when the Seahawks beat the Broncos in the Super Bowl a few years back.
Yeah.
That's basically what it looked like. So,
Likely the Broncos didn't deserve to be there.
Brian, you're number 2.
My number 2 is the Eagles. The reason that is because after the injury, we thought they would make it, but they kept clawing, kept scratching.
That was the best thing that happened to them that season.
Oh, and guess what? They beat Tom Brady in the Super Bowl.
That's right. With Nick Foles.
That's okay.
Because Wentz would have never got that done.
I disagree with you, but that's okay. That team had a great defense. They were older. It was a team of destiny type of thing. So obviously I'm an Eagles fan, but that was one of them. So
right.
I'm going with the 76 Oakland Raiders.
Oh, Flunky.
No,
That's not Flunky in it? Kenny Stabler.
Flunky came into the...
That's right.
yeah.
Vince Stabler, 7 Hall of Famers. John Madden.
That's not Madden.
John Madden.
John Madden's great.
Yeah.
He's
There's a reason they make games.
commentator.
He was a better commentator and everything.
No.
He was a good coach. He really was. He didn't stay around. That is why he didn't get more accolades as a coach. But yeah, that 76 team, they beat the Vikings in the Super Bowl that year.
Yep.
People eaters.
You know, they jumped in because the Steelers had won the previous two. And this was the Vikings' fourth Super Bowl loss. That ties in with being over 4
Mhm.
But yeah, Matt had a good team in Stabler. Fred Ncaa was actually the MVP of that game. And Casper, they had good offensive line, Art Shell, Gino Shaw. But
Those are gunners.
yeah. And with the Snake and Stabler, left-handed quarterback. They had a good defense too. Lyle Alzado was on that team. John Tusack was on that team.
That was a team that had a lot of intangibles that went their way. I mean, if there was a lucky bounce, it went to Oak.
And they had one of the hardest hitting safeties ever in Jack. And
What was his name?
it's
Sassy.
The only reason I know half those guys is because of Madden. So
well, yeah, you coached it.
well, bad video games are.
Oh, okay. Jeff, you're number 2.
I put Miami, 72 at Miami, the only undefeated team. I put them at number 2. I just feel like you got to pay respects to the team that did it.
Yep.
I mean, it was really before my time, so I can't tell you how it made me feel or anything. I don't lie, I was 3. Yeah, I was still playing. I was still playing with my diaper. Stop it.
Last week.
No, they're calling me Fids now.
Well, let's move on to our number 1. We'll start down with Brian. And your number 1 team on the list, Brian.
New England, 2007. It was nobody thought they were gonna lose. It just was to me, it was a fluke thing that happened. But they were the best show I've ever seen on the football field.
And I'm going to jump in on this because I agree with you. I think that was the best team. But I think what made them the best team is that the Giants run also. I mean, these two teams collided, and they had some of the best runs in football history.
Yeah.
Both of them did things that no other football team had pulled off, and definitely in that year, no one expected it.
No, nobody did.
I mean, no one expected the Giants to, especially when they start out 2-6, and then you turn around in New England to go undefeated. I mean, they were good, but undefeated.
Yeah.
I mean,
No, to me, I didn't think they were gonna lose. Like, there was no point in that whole year I thought they were gonna lose.
I'm a Giants fan, and I did not think I was just hoping my Giants keep it close.
Yeah.
In that game,
To me,
keep it close.
I remember going into that Super Bowl. I am not a Patriots. Cannot stand the Patriots. Hate the Patriots.
The Giants had 4 sacks on Brady at halftime, and at that point was when I started feeling like we might do this.
I think Michael Strahan was probably one of the biggest.
Absolutely.
Because he, in what was it, week 16, 17? They played the New England Patriots right before the playoffs, and they got smoked.
It was their only loss in the second half of the season was to New England.
Yep.
And if I remember right, that game was like 42-20.
Yeah.
I mean, it was.
But there's even a documentary out about it.
And Strahan was pissed.
Yeah, he said we will not lose again.
Yeah.
And they did.
And they did not.
The whole way through.
And, you know, I think you look, the Giants won the NFC Championship that game, and I think they played it at Lambeau against
Aaron Rodgers.
And that was one of the coldest games.
Yeah.
But that was, and even in the Super Bowl, if you look at it, Jason Pierre-Paul was a very disruptive force,
Yes.
even more than Strahan was in that game.
Yes. Them two guys right there.
Lose 2 fingers.
It was.
Yeah, he lost 2.
It was an amazing season that led to that game. And once they got into the game, both of them, and it started, by the end of the first quarter, everyone that was watching realized they were watching history.
And this is to me, Eli throwing it up to Tyree, lucky catch. Like
Oh man,
it just
wow.
it was bad luck on New
It
England's
was
part.
not bad.
That is the only reason that team didn't go undefeated. It was bad luck on their part.
Rodney Harrison had great coverage.
He did.
Yeah, he played it exactly like it was just
That was an amazing catch. Does not take away what that catch was. He caught it not just on his helmet. When he went backwards, he was laid across Rodney, and his whole body was. I mean,
it actually hit the ground.
no, it didn't.
Yeah.
No, it didn't.
Yes, it
You
did.
watch that all day long. There's that much space in between. Never touched. And it sure the hell didn't move.
If that call came today,
It's not a catch.
I'm not sure they would.
It's a catch every time. Oh my God.
Braves won.
The reason I'm going with it, on my list, for me to be on this list, you had to win the Super Bowl, in my opinion. So that's why I'm going to go with the 72 Miami Dolphins. Led the league in points, led the league in points allowed, undefeated. I mean, can't write it better than that. So I'm going with the 72 Dolphins.
That is my number one as well. They weren't going to be, but they went undefeated. It was a different era, a different time. They only played 14 regular season games back then.
Mhm.
But like Braden just said, they were the top in the offense. They were top in defense. They were Don Shula, Hall of Fame coach, leading them. You had Larry Zonka. You had Jim Kick. You had Mercury Morris. You had three outstanding backs. You had Bob Greasy, Paul Warfield. They had a monster offensive line back then. And the defense. The defense was just, Nick Bonacani, a very underrated linebacker. And I know you guys probably don't remember these names, but that team, the reason I had them number one, and I was going to put them lower, but then after I looked at it a little bit, I'm like, they led the league in everything.
Every stat possible.
Offense, defense, and
They finished.
the thing was, there were a lot of good teams in the AFC back then. You had the Raiders, you had the Steelers, you had the Chiefs. There were the Colts were good back then. So you had some competition, but Miami never lost. And they almost did because Permian tried to throw a pass on a field goal, and that was the only points the Redskins got in that Super Bowl, and you didn't have the high scoring Super Bowls back then. It was 14-7, the final score. But
they're all run based teams.
it was more of a running game back then. And Jake Scott was the MVP of that Super Bowl. He was a defensive safety. And that defense was just monstrous. And then you had the Cowboys, the Redskins, the 49ers were solid back then. So you had a lot of good teams. It wasn't like now where free agency just separates everybody and you've got this good team, this good team, and this good team.
Well, it's the loyalty back then.
They were hard-nosed football teams, and man, you guys never watched.
When you played for your city, you played for your area.
You played for that team.
Yeah.
And if you guys never watched videos of it, go back and watch Larry Zonka. That was an animal. He was just a beast. And so.
And they didn't get paid much.
No.
I mean, it wasn't a great job to be. It felt like.
No, nobody made $1 million back then.
They were middle class guys.
Right.
I mean.
Yep. So
gotta give it up to those.
Yeah. go on to our social media pages and show us your top 5 teams of all time.
Yeah.
If you're out there watching us, put your top 5. We'd love to see what you guys think. How you think our teams were, what you thought of our rankings. If you didn't agree with them, let us know. We want to know your input. We want to know what the fans think.
I mean,
because you guys are fans like us.
You guys can tell Brian. He's got tough skin. He knows that he was wrong.
Okay.
When it came to the Eagles being in the top 5, he knows better. But he did it anyway. So y'all can call him out.
I respect that, Nick.
I was about to say the roles reverse of seeing how Jeff knows if he's wrong.
I respect what Brian did. I do. I respect what Brian did and how he did it for teams that he saw play.
Yeah.
I agree.
if I wouldn't have
I did
taken that
nothing like
approach,
that.
my list would have been completely different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
And I get that.
like I had to put Miami in there just because they were the only undefeated team. You have to put them in there.
Yeah.
But I didn't get to see. I didn't get to see. Like I've seen highlights.
I guess I should be
Insane.
proud of you. I shouldn't be giving you so much shit. At least you didn't stick an LA team in there. You know,
It was hard not to.
really, that's an easy pick not to do. You can talk about most overrated teams in the history.
You know, they won back-to-back Super Bowls.
And Terrell Davis was a beast.
The last one won No, New England. Sorry, New England did. New England did win back-to-back.
Yeah.
Denver was the last one, but New England did get it back-to-back.
The Chiefs.
They didn't win back to back.
Yes, they did.
Yes, they did. They just now.
Oh yeah,
22,
Niners
yeah,
and-
22, 23.
Yeah,
This
you're
would have been
right.
3
You're
right.
right. This would have been the three.
Yeah, this would have been
Sorry.
Yeah.
And you know, there were other teams that I looked at, like your Baltimore Ravens from 2000. I looked at that team. I looked at some of these Chiefs teams from recently. They are solid teams, but I love the NFL. I love the history of the NFL.
Yeah.
So I remember these teams from back in the day. I know you guys weren't born back when most of them were playing, but those.
One of the most fun teams to ever watch, Cincinnati Bengals, with Icky Woods and Boomer Esiason. I mean, they had a great time. Old Icky with the Icky Shuffle.
Hey, fun fact: none of my teams I was alive for. The closest one was '99 St. Louis.
Well, you are.
I was
Yeah.
8 years
I
old.
mean,
So,
you're
I-
young.
Brayton is doing his homework after we told you what we were doing this week. So
I was not the only one at this table that didn't do their homework either.
Way wrong.
He was he Googled top 10 NFL teams of all time, and then he was scrolling through his phone as he was sitting here, and he's like, "Oh, that team looks good."
I have no idea what he's talking about.
I put a list together right before we went live, just so y'all know. I mean, I didn't Google anything, but I did put my list together right before we
I
started.
actually kind of struggled because I didn't know how I was gonna do it. I wanted to, do it a little bit different, probably. But honestly, Baltimore would have been in there if I didn't have to put Miami somewhere. Then you had to put Miami somewhere.
See, and this
Yeah, I agree.
It's,
Because they're not a team I watch.
the 72 Dolphins.
Yeah.
Yeah, we didn't watch them,
But the accolade has
we
got
have
to
to
be
know about them.
Yeah.
everybody knows about it. So.
It is. So this one didn't prove to be really argumentative, but
Well,
we're taking.
he did put Philadelphia in his top 5.
I know, Jeff.
I mean, come on.
It's one of those.
I'm proud of you not to put a Giants team in there. I'm actually really proud of you.
They tied in with the
Okay,
New England.
fine.
That's why they never won.
Oh, that's why you did it.
Well, we are taking next week off
Yeah.
with prior commitments from everybody. The following week, we are going to do Thursday night. It will be a draft special. The night of the NFL draft will be on. We're going to react to.
The first hour of picks that are going on. We're going to talk about it as it's going on. I think this will be fun.
I do, and for
We're
all of
reacting to Shedeur Sanders getting drafted by the New York Giants.
You will all want to.
Braden might not be here.
You will all want to tune into that show.
I mean, seriously, tune in on your phone with us, have the draft on your TV, and interact with us. Let's have a full out discussion about why Cleveland took the wrong player.
Okay, so it's the Tailgate Talk
NFL draft special.
NFL Draft Watch Party.
Yeah.
Watch party, I like it.
But
Yeah.
I want you to tell everybody you know to tune in that day because for the first time in live podcast history, you may see somebody jump out of a window. And it's the guy sitting right to my left, my good friend Jeff Green. And here's why. If you look at mock drafts, if you follow the NFL, if you're looking at any of this, they're talking Cam Ward going to the Titans, they're talking Abdul Carter going to the Browns, and Jeff's Giants are third on the clock that night. They just signed Russell Wilson.
And
It's
JB Winston.
pretty much done. Jameis Winston, the only 30-30 man in NFL history, are the two starting quarterbacks so far. Shedeur Sanders,
Will not be
Jeff's
the Giant.
favorite player, who actually wore a pair of Giants cleats at his ball game,
He was wishful thinking.
is pretty much who everybody says the Giants are taking in the mock drafts. Now,
You know, at this point, I'll be happy with Hunter as long as it's not Shador. But I don't want Hunter either. I just think there's much better options out there.
so
Get Dart late from the quarterback spot.
besides putting your top 5 all-time NFL single season teams on there, what down do you think will be the top 5 picks in the NFL draft?
Ooh.
Love to see it. Our top 5 next week or 2 weeks will be the all-time NFL draft bust.
Wow.
I know the guys that you think were the worst. Bring, put this in your notes. You've got 2 weeks
Yes, Dad.
to do your homework. All-time NFL draft bust. That means people who sucked. Okay? That means people who were horrible.
Ryan
In
Leaf.
college, yeah, we'll give you some examples. Ryan Leaf, Joe Marcus Russell, Brian Cook. He's just a bust all over. I mean, it's not an NFL draft. It's just everything. But we're going to talk about who we think were the all-time draft busts in the NFL. Will we have another one this year? Or are we going to see another Patrick Mahomes drafted this year in the 3rd slot?
I don't know what that would be. That is not a Patrick Mahomes guy.
No, I'm not even going to put Patrick into that.
Y'all are killing me, man.
So, but it will be fun. You guys will want to tune in for this one, and believe me, anybody that you know, tell them to tune in because it's going to be fun, and it is going to be a lot of fun if that 3rd pick goes the way that it's predicting is. Because, like I said, the window right here to my right, Jeff may go right out that window.
For how much I hate Colorado, I want to wear a Colorado shirt with some Deion Sanders sunglasses.
God loves me. He's not going to allow this to happen.
Just for Jeff.
So let's. What do we got? 3 minutes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about that, guys. Do you all think? Are we in agreement? Cam Ward will probably go with the number 1.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I don't see anybody else that they would take there. They need that quarterback. Now let's talk about the Browns. They did re-sign Myles Garrett.
Yeah.
Do they go after the bookend with that dual card?
I don't think so.
Do the Browns?
I think they take Shador.
To me, I think the Browns need so much right now, and
Yeah.
you got to start. But this isn't a quarterback draft to me. Like,
Well, it's not.
it's really not. So like, they need a quarterback, obviously.
Cam Ward's the only one that even qualifies as a top 5 pick. And in most drafts, would he be the number 1? Would he be a number 1 quarterback off the board?
No.
I mean,
No.
right. This is a very weak quarterback draft. And if you're looking to build a team like the Giants and Cleveland are, you don't start there.
No.
You just can't start there, especially with a guy like Shador. That was his dad put him in positions to look better than he is. He holds on to the ball way too long. That's why he doesn't have interceptions, because he take a sack as opposed to throwing it downfield.
Well, he also had a terrible offensive line. Nebraska made him look really bad.
Yes, we did.
I'm just good. Here's the thing. Now, if you look at this mock draft, they've got Travis Hunter going to the Browns.
See? And that gives us Carter.
Well, now they're saying the offensive tackle from Missouri.
And that's not a bad pick either. That's a big boy.
And that takes Shador all the way down to the Jets with pick number 7.
Yeah.
But see, I don't think the Browns are going to go with a quarterback. And I think here's the reason why. I think they're going to run with Kenny Pickett.
But if they go with Hunter, that the Giants would be stupid to jump on the quarterback thing.
I would say they should go with Abdul, but if they're trying to short
I think it's
offensive line,
I like Abdul Carter. I think that's a game changer. They got a really good defense.
mhm.
You know, the problem with their defense,
The defensive line would be solid.
their offense, their defense is on the field all day long. That's the biggest problem. I think that as old as Russell is and Winston are, they're 3 times the quarterback Daniel Jones was.
Mhm.
Both of them are 3 times the guy. They're going to move the ball now. Neighbors will get a chance to actually show off. the Singletary he's not a bad back. What was the freshman that came on?
The rookie. You mean?
Yeah, the rookie. Wow, he has a chance to become their lead back. I mean, they have opportunities to. I'm not saying that they're a playoff team. I'm not saying they're going to run for the Super Bowl, but they're in a position to make a lot of improvements.
Yeah, I was watching something the other day. They were doing the over under win totals, and right now they have the Giants at like 5.5.
Yeah, and I think they're better than that, as long as they don't get Shador. If they get Abdul or even the offensive tackle, and then pick up Dart later, I just think that they're more of a 8-win, 7-win.
I think you have in their scenario they have to go with Russell, in my opinion.
I agree. And even if you do pick up Shador, you're still gonna have to run Russell.
Yeah.
Because he's not ready.
Shador won't be at first day stuff.
Shador is not ready.
Yahoo Sports, their mock draft shows Cam Ward, Travis Hunter to the Browns. With that Armand Membu from Missouri, the offensive tackle going there. They've got Shador dropping all the way to the Steelers.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Well, the Steelers, they need something.
Yeah.
All jokes
They're gonna get Aaron Rodgers.
all jokes aside with Jeff. I mean, truly, if Shador doesn't get picked up by the Browns, he's fallen hard. I mean,
I think
so. I mean,
the
just
only thing
and I don't think the Browns are going to do it because they've shot themselves in the foot with quarterbacks. I mean, Baker Mayfield is now a great quarterback. The Browns,
They're still paying off whatchamacallit.
Deshaun Watson.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They haven't
Browns
got-
should
they
have
haven't got
got
that
rid of
paid off.
Baker Mayfield.
It's still hurting their salary cap.
Yeah.
Because Baker Mayfield's the only thing that gave that team a spark.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then
No.
he has a couple of bad years because they were a bad team, and then they axe him.
Look what Baker's doing now.
Yep.
All right. So everybody be ready to have our NFL draft party.
Yes.
draft watch party.
Watch party.
Watch party.
Tailgate talk style.
Yeah.
So that is in 2 weeks. Next week we will not be on. 2 weeks from now, we're going to have the NFL draft watch party. It will happen Thursday night, 7 p.m. We're going to be right here. NFL draft starts right at that time. The Tennessee Titans will be on the clock when we come on the clock. Yep. So I thought tonight's show we talked about the top 5 again. Please leave a comment. Leave whatever. Tell us who you think the Giants are going to take. Do you think they'll take Shador? We'll find out in 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
But leave us your top 5. We would love to see it. We'll talk about it. On our next show a little bit. We'll talk about who teams. Maybe we miss somebody that you think is one of the top teams of all time, and we'll talk about it a little bit and see if we can find.
Yeah.
So congratulations once again, Nicole Talbot, for taking home the NCAA March Madness Tailgate top prize.
Yeah.
Right there.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So in 2 weeks, Nicole, you can watch us and be drinking out of those. We'll enjoy that.
There
Send
you
us a picture, send us something, put it on our Facebook. We'd love to see you with them. But for all of us, we hope you guys have a great 2 weeks. We'll see you again 2 weeks from tomorrow night on Thursday night. You've been watching Tailgate Talk, and
We know sports.